The twin suns of the alien world hung high above, casting a golden glow across the endless desert. Heat waves rippled in the air, making the horizon look like it was melting. Ryan pushed forward, each step sinking into the fine sand. His boots were heavy, his uniform covered in dust, but he did not slow down. He was here for a reason. Ryan was an explorer for Earth's Galactic Research Council. His mission was simple on paper: survey this desert region, collect mineral samples, and note any unusual structures. The planet, called Zera, had been visited only a few times before. Most reports said it was empty except for a few small alien villages far from the cities. Still, the council wanted detailed data. Ryan carried a scanner on his belt, a water pack on his back, and a bag full of sample jars. The desert wind brushed against his face. It was hot and dry, but there was a strange scent in the air, something floral, something alive. Ryan frowned. Flowers could not grow here. The sand was too hot, the air too dry. He paused and checked his scanner, but it showed nothing unusual. Then he saw movement in the distance. At first, he thought it was a trick of the light, maybe the shimmer of heat. But as the shape came closer, he realized it was a person. A small figure was walking toward him from over a dune. Ryan reached for his communicator, ready to send a report, but stopped when he saw her clearly. The figure was a young alien girl. Her skin was pale blue, almost glowing under the suns, and her large eyes were the color of clear water. She wore a simple robe tied at the waist with a thin cord. Her hair, silver and smooth, moved gently in the wind. She walked with no fear, no hesitation. Ryan stood still, unsure if he should approach or wait. The girl stopped a few meters away and tilted her head, studying him. "Hello," Ryan said slowly, raising his hands to show he meant no harm. "I am Ryan. I am from Earth. I am here to study the land." The girl blinked, then spoke in a voice that was soft but carried across the sand. "Nira." She touched her chest lightly. "Nira." Ryan nodded. "Nira." He pointed to himself. "Ryan." She gave a small smile, but her eyes held something more. Curiosity mixed with urgency. She looked over her shoulder toward the dunes and then back at him. She lifted her hand and pointed far away, beyond the horizon. Her voice was careful, the words broken. "Come. See. Important." Ryan hesitated. His training told him to be cautious. Meeting unknown natives could be risky, especially on a world with limited records. But something in her tone and the way she kept glancing toward the distance made him think this was more than a random meeting. "What is there?" he asked. Nira's answer was simple. "Old, big, stone." Ryan studied her for a moment. Her breathing was steady, but her hands were tight at her sides. It was as if she carried a secret she needed to share. Finally, he decided to follow. He adjusted his water pack, checked his scanner again, and nodded. "All right, show me." They began to walk. The desert stretched endlessly around them. Sand dunes rose and fell like waves frozen in time. The wind sometimes picked up, sending fine grains into Ryan's face. He pulled up a cloth mask to protect his mouth and nose. Nira, however, moved easily, her steps light, as if she had walked this path many times. After nearly an hour, they reached the top of a tall dune. Ryan paused to catch his breath, wiping sweat from his forehead. Then he looked ahead and froze. In the distance stood a massive pyramid. It rose from the sand like a mountain of carved stone, each side smooth and angled perfectly toward the sky. The structure's surface was marked with deep symbols, some of them worn by time, others still sharp. It did not match any design Ryan had seen in alien or human architecture. It looked ancient, yet untouched. The desert wind seemed to quiet around it. Nira stopped several steps away from the base of the pyramid. Her posture changed. She stood straighter, her eyes fixed on the stone structure. She turned to Ryan and spoke in a low voice. "Old, before my people, before yours." Ryan's heartbeat quickened. "Before humans came here?" Nira nodded. She stepped closer to the pyramid but did not touch it. Instead, she motioned for him to move forward. Ryan walked slowly to the base. The stone was darker than he expected, with fine grains that sparkled faintly in the sunlight. He reached out and placed his hand against it. It was cool to the touch, unlike the burning sand around them. The carved symbols seemed to hum faintly, though he could not tell if it was sound or just his imagination. Nira's voice came again, almost a whisper. "It waits." Ryan turned to her. "What waits?" She shook her head as if searching for the right word. "Door." Ryan's eyes narrowed. "A door? Inside this?" Before she could answer, something in the stone shifted under his palm. A faint vibration passed through his fingers. He stepped back quickly. The section of stone where his hand had been began to glow softly. Nira took a small step forward, her eyes wide. She did not speak, only watched. The glow spread, tracing the carved symbols. A thin, vertical line appeared in the wall. Sand at the base slid away as if swept by an invisible force. Without a single sound, a narrow doorway opened before them. Ryan stared at the dark passage inside. Nira looked at him, her voice steady now. "It chose you." The heat of the desert was suddenly forgotten. Ryan knew, without understanding why, that his mission had just changed. The doorway stood open, a perfect cut into the dark stone, so precise it looked as if it had been made by a machine. The air that drifted from inside was cooler than the desert wind and carried a faint metallic scent. Ryan took a cautious step forward, peering into the shadows. He could see the first few meters of smooth stone floor, but after that, the darkness swallowed everything. Nira did not move closer. She stood a few steps back, her silver hair shifting with the breeze, her eyes locked on the opening as if it was alive. Her breathing had quickened, and she held her hands together as if to stop them from shaking. Ryan turned to her. "Have you been inside before?" Nira shook her head slowly. "Not me. My people do not touch. We guard. We tell stories. This place, it is not for us." Ryan frowned. "Then why bring me here?" She glanced at the pyramid's carvings. "Because it opened for you." Ryan looked back at the doorway. He wanted to step in, but his instincts told him to gather more information first. "You said your people guard this place. Why?" Nira spoke carefully, searching for the right words. "Long ago, the sky burned. A great danger came from the stars. My ancestors say the ones who built this fought the danger. When it was over, they locked their secrets away here. They left a sign that one day, someone from far away would open it again." Ryan let that sink in. It was a story he had heard in many forms across different worlds. Ruins and legends always hinting at an ancient conflict. But seeing this structure and how it responded to his touch made it different. This was not a simple myth. He stepped closer to the wall beside the doorway and examined the carvings. Each symbol was precise and deep, not worn down like the ruins he had seen on other planets. Some shapes resembled stars, others looked like ships, and a few looked like humans standing beside tall alien figures. Ryan's scanner beeped softly. He pulled it from his belt and pointed it at the wall. The readings made him pause. The stone was not pure rock. It contained traces of an unknown alloy, something far stronger than anything used in modern construction. Even the power source for the faint glow inside was undetectable. He looked back at Nira. "This is not just stone. This is technology." Nira nodded as if she had known all along. "It is sleeping technology. Waiting." Ryan took a deep breath. I have to see what is inside. Nira's expression darkened. If you go, you may not come back. The old stories say the builders tested the one who entered. Some never returned. Ryan thought about that. Danger was part of his work. The council trained explorers for unknown risks, and he had faced his share of hostile environments. Still, the warning felt heavier here, as if the pyramid itself was listening. He stepped toward the opening, but before entering, he placed a small signal beacon on the ground outside. If anything happens, this will send a distress call to my ship. Nira did not move to follow him. I will wait here. Ryan nodded and stepped through the doorway. The first thing he noticed was the change in sound. Outside, the desert wind had been constant, but inside, it was silent. His footsteps on the stone echoed faintly. The walls were smooth and angled slightly inward, giving the passage a tunnel-like shape. Faint lines of light ran along the edges of the floor, glowing white and blue, just bright enough to guide him. He walked slowly, scanning the walls as he moved. Symbols continued along the corridor, some larger and more detailed than those outside. One panel showed a fleet of ships. Above a planet, beams of light striking from space to the ground. Another showed strange, spiked shapes that seemed to fall apart under the beams. As he studied the carvings, Ryan felt a strange pull, as if something deeper inside was calling to him. His breathing stayed steady, but his mind felt more alert than usual. He could almost sense the shape of the rooms ahead, though he could not see them yet. He reached a junction where the passage split into two paths, one sloping upward, the other leading down. Without hesitation, he chose the downward path. The air grew cooler as he descended. The metallic scent became stronger, mixed with something like the smell of rain before a storm. At the bottom, the corridor opened into a wide chamber. The walls here were different. Instead of stone carvings, they were made of smooth panels that reflected the faint light. In the center of the room stood a raised platform with a circular depression in it, just big enough for a person to stand inside. Above the platform, a crystal-like structure hung in midair, suspended without any visible support. Ryan circled the platform, studying the details. The floor had grooves leading from the depression outward, forming a pattern like a starburst. The crystal above was faintly glowing, and tiny sparks of light moved inside it as if it was alive. He pulled out his scanner again, but the readings were strange, fluctuating between nothing and extreme energy spikes. He had never seen anything like it. A voice behind him made him jump. You found the heart. Ryan turned sharply. Nira stood at the entrance to the chamber. She had followed after all, her steps silent until now. The heart? Ryan asked. Nira walked closer, her eyes on the crystal. That is what my people call it. They say it is the memory of the builders. It holds their history and their warning. Ryan's mind raced. If this was some kind of ancient data storage, it could change everything humans knew about this sector of the galaxy. Can it be activated? Nira hesitated. The old stories say only the chosen can make it speak. They say the heart will test the one who touches it. Ryan looked up, at the crystal. Its glow seemed to grow stronger the longer he stared at it. The idea of a test did not scare him. It intrigued him. If this really was the memory of an ancient civilization, he had to know what was inside. He stepped onto the platform. The grooves beneath his feet lit up instantly, sending lines of light racing toward the crystal. The glow inside it flared, brighter, and the sparks began to move faster. Nira stood back, watching closely, her hands tense at her sides. Ryan reached up slowly, his hand hovering just beneath the crystal. The air felt charged, almost humming against his skin. The crystal lowered until it hovered only a few centimeters above Ryan's hand. Its glow painted his skin in shifting shades of blue and white. The air felt heavier now, as if the chamber itself was holding its breath. Ryan's fingers trembled. Slightly, not from fear, but from anticipation. He reached up and touched the crystal with the tips of his fingers. The moment he made contact, a wave of warmth spread through his arm and into his chest. His vision blurred and the chamber around him faded. He was no longer standing on the platform. Instead, Ryan found himself standing in a vast open space. The floor beneath his feet was smooth and reflective like black glass. Above him stretched a sky filled with thousands of stars, brighter and closer than he had ever seen. A deep, steady voice echoed through the space. It was not a sound he heard with his ears, but one that resonated inside his mind. "You are human. You are far from your world. Why have you come?" Ryan turned in a slow circle, looking for the source of the voice. "I came here to explore. I did not know this place existed until today." The voice replied, calm but powerful. "This place waits for one who will awaken it. The builders left it sleeping until the danger returns. Only one with courage and a will to protect may take the key." Ryan swallowed. The key to what? The key to survival, the key to alliance, the key to war. Before Ryan could speak again, the stars above shifted, rearranging themselves into shapes. He saw massive ships moving across the void. Beams of light cut through enemy fleets. Planets burned under attack. Then, just as quickly, the images vanished. The voice spoke again. "The danger will come from beyond the black. You must be ready. Show us your worth." The floor beneath Ryan cracked into sections, forming a path that stretched ahead into the distance. The space around him shifted again, and now towering shapes appeared, figures made of light and shadow, each holding strange weapons. They moved toward him. Instinct told Ryan this was the test Nira had spoken about. His heart pounded as the first figure rushed him. It swung a blade of pure energy, but Ryan reacted quickly, ducking low and moving aside. As he straightened, the crystal light from his hand flared, forming a faint shield in front of him. He looked at it in surprise, but there was no time to think. Another figure attacked from the right. Ryan raised the shield and blocked the strike. The impact vibrated through his arm, but he stayed firm. He pushed forward, and the figure dissolved into light. The voice spoke again. "Good. Strength is not only in the arm, but in the mind. You must also see what others cannot." The scene shifted once more. Ryan now stood in a maze of walls made from glowing symbols. Each wall pulsed with energy. Somewhere ahead, he could hear a faint hum like machinery. He began to move, taking each turn carefully. At first, every path looked the same. But then he noticed something. Some symbols glowed slightly brighter than others, forming a trail. He followed them, moving quickly but cautiously. Several times, false paths appeared, ending in blank walls. Ryan studied them closely and realized they were traps. The brighter trail never led to them. Finally, he reached the center of the maze. A tall pillar of light rose from the ground, and at its top floated a small metallic cube. He reached out to touch it. The moment his fingers brushed its surface, the maze vanished. Ryan was back in the star-filled space. The voice came again, quieter now. "You have passed the first gates, but the burden is heavy. Will you carry it?" Ryan thought about the images he had seen, the burning planets, the great fleets in battle. He had never wanted war, but he understood that sometimes war came whether you wanted it or not. If the danger was real, someone had to stand against it. "Yes," Ryan said firmly. "I will carry it." The voice gave a single, deep tone that sounded almost like approval. "Then you are chosen." The stars around him flared brightly. A rush of light surged toward him, and the sensation was overwhelming. His vision went white. When it cleared, Ryan found himself back in the chamber, standing on the platform. The crystal above him had dimmed, now glowing only faintly. In his hands, he held the metallic cube from the vision. It was warm and pulsed with a slow rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. Nira stepped forward, her eyes wide. You have it. Ryan looked at her, still catching his breath. It gave me a warning. Something is coming. This cube, it's part of the key to stopping it. Nira's gaze shifted to the cube, then back to him. The old stories said the chosen one would bring the heart's voice back to the world. My people will want to hear it. Ryan nodded. We need to understand what it can do. Before they could speak further, the floor beneath them trembled slightly. A deep hum filled the air, and the walls of the chamber lit up with lines of light running toward the doorway. Outside, a faint rumble echoed across the desert. Nira looked uneasy. The pyramid is awake. Ryan tightened his grip on the cube. Then it's starting already. They turned toward the doorway, the cool air of the chamber giving way to the dry heat of the desert. The sun still hung in the sky, but now the shadows around the pyramid seemed sharper, as if the light itself had changed. Somewhere in the distance, Ryan thought he saw a glint, like sunlight reflecting off metal far out on the horizon. Whatever the pyramid had been waiting for, it was no longer waiting. The rumble beneath their feet faded, but the air around the pyramid felt different now. It was not just the heat of the desert anymore. There was a faint vibration in the ground, as if something deep inside the structure had begun to move. Ryan glanced at Nira. Her eyes were fixed on the cube in his hands. She spoke softly, almost to herself. It has accepted you. That means the path inside will open fully. Ryan adjusted the grip on the cube. Then we need to see what's deeper in there. Nira nodded, though her posture was tense. She took the lead this time, stepping back into the cool darkness of the pyramid. The lines of light along the walls were brighter now, and the floor beneath them glowed faintly with each step they took. As they moved past the platform where Ryan had touched, the crystal, a new passage revealed itself in the far wall. It was wide enough for 3 people to walk side by side. The air inside was cooler, carrying a faint scent of something ancient, stone, metal, and a trace of the floral smell Ryan had noticed in the desert earlier. They walked slowly, taking in the surroundings. The walls of the passage were covered with murals, not just symbols this time, but full scenes carved into the surface. Ryan stopped to study the first one. It showed tall figures standing with humans, their hands raised together in unity. Behind them were great ships, some shaped like long spears, others wide and flat like shields. Nira's voice was quiet. These are the builders. My people say they came from the stars long before my ancestors walked this land. They met with humans, too, far away. Ryan ran his fingers over the carved lines. The craftsmanship was precise, as if it had been done yesterday. The next mural was more chaotic. It showed dark, spiked shapes falling from the sky, striking planets and sending shockwaves through the land. The tall figures and humans fought together. But the enemy shapes were countless. They faced the danger together, Ryan said. Nira nodded. But the danger was too strong. Many worlds fell. The third mural was different. It showed a massive pyramid surrounded by smaller ones, all glowing with light. The tall figures were handing over strange cubes to humans and others. Ryan's gaze shifted to the cube in his hand. Nira pointed to it. Like yours. Ryan stepped back and looked down the hall. The murals continued for many meters, telling the story of the builders and the war. But at the end of the corridor stood a tall doorway unlike the others. Its frame was made of smooth metal instead of stone, and faint energy shimmered across it like a veil. As they approached, the cube in Ryan's hand grew warmer. The shimmer across the doorway pulsed, and then slowly faded away. Nira took a careful step forward and peered inside. This is the heart room. My people say only the chosen can enter without harm. Ryan went in first. The chamber beyond was vast, with a high-domed ceiling that glowed faintly with star-like lights. In the center was a wide table made of black stone, its surface covered in small metal discs, rods, and other objects arranged in patterns. Around the walls were tall, narrow shelves filled with crystal tablets, each one glowing faintly. Ryan walked toward the table. The objects there looked like parts of machines, but their designs were strange. No bolts, no wires, no seams. Each piece was smooth and perfect, as if grown rather than built. Nira approached one of the shelves and ran her fingers just above a crystal tablet without touching it. These are memory stones. They hold the voices of the builders. Ryan placed the cube on the table. Immediately, lines of light spread from it across the surface, forming a map of the galaxy. Dozens of points lit up, some green, some red. The red points pulsed slowly, and Ryan noticed they were grouped along the outer edges of the map. He studied it closely. These red points, they're moving. Nira's eyes widened. The danger is already on the way. Ryan leaned over the table, trying to make sense of the patterns. If this is a star map, then these paths here, they lead straight toward inhabited systems. The cube shifted on its own, rotating slightly. One of the green points at the center flared brighter than the rest. Ryan recognized the coordinates from his missions. It was a human colony world. Nira's voice was tense. Your people are in its path. Ryan's mind raced. He had to get this information to the Galactic Research Council. But there was more here than just warnings. He could see faint shapes along the map's edges, designs for ships and weapons. The builders had left more than just stories. They had left tools to fight back. He turned to Nira. We need to take what we can. The Council must see this. Nira hesitated. The Council will have questions. They will want to know why the pyramid chose you and not one of my people. Ryan picked up the cube. Then we give them the truth. This was meant for humans, too. The builders made sure of it. As they prepared to leave, Ryan took one of the smaller crystal tablets from the shelf. The moment he lifted it, the star map vanished, and the table's surface returned to black stone. The lights in the ceiling dimmed slightly, as if the room was going back to sleep. Nira looked around. It will close again until you return. They walked back through the mural corridor in silence. When they stepped out into the open desert, Ryan noticed something in the distance. A thin column of dust rising against the horizon. It was moving toward them. Nira followed his gaze. Her voice was quiet, but firm. We are not alone anymore. Ryan tightened his grip on the cube and the crystal tablet. Whatever was coming, he had the feeling it was connected to the awakening of the pyramid. The dust column on the horizon was growing larger. It rolled toward the pyramid like a silent storm. Ryan and Nira stood at the base, the sun pressing heat against their backs. Nira's voice was calm but steady. That is a sand transport. My people use them to move across the desert. It means the Watchers have seen the pyramid awaken. Ryan adjusted the strap on his bag, making sure the cube and crystal tablet were secure. Then we will meet them. They need to know what is coming. The transport arrived within minutes. It was a long, low craft gliding on repulsor pads, its hull made of pale metal that reflected the sunlight. 4 figures stepped out, their robes marked with a symbol Ryan had not seen before. A spiral surrounding a star. An older alien man led them. His skin was the same pale blue as Nira's, but lined with age, and his hair was short and silver white. His gaze moved from Nira to Ryan, then to the pyramid behind them. Nira, the man said in their own language before switching to slow, careful human speech. Why is the door open? Nira stepped forward, bowing her head slightly. Elder Varun. The door opened for him. She pointed to Ryan. The elder's eyes narrowed. A human? Ryan met his gaze. I touched the pyramid, and it let me in. I found this. He held out the cube. The elder studied it for a long moment before speaking. If the heart has given you its voice, then the old stories are true. He looked to the others. We must take him to the council hall. They boarded the transport, the desert sliding past them in waves of golden sand. Nira sat beside Ryan, her hands folded tightly in her lap. The elder sat opposite them, silent but watchful. After an hour, the desert gave way to a cluster of stone, structures built into the side of a cliff. Tall pillars framed wide doorways, and carvings similar to those in the pyramid decorated the walls. This was Nira's home, a settlement that blended into the rock, shielded from the winds. They stepped inside a grand hall where light filtered through narrow windows high above. At the center stood a circular table surrounded by high-backed chairs. Around it sat the village elders, each marked with the spiral and star symbol. Elder Varun took the lead, speaking in his own language to explain what had happened. The other elders listened without interruption. When he finished, all eyes turned to Ryan. One of them spoke in clear human speech. If you truly carry the heart's voice, then show us. Ryan placed the cube on the table. At once, thin lines of light spread out like a web, forming shapes in the air above it. The galaxy unfolded before them, stars and worlds shining in miniature. The red points pulsed along the edges, just as Ryan had seen in the pyramid. Gasps rose from the elders. Nira pointed to one of the red points. This is where the danger will come first. Ryan nodded. These are enemy movements. The pyramid showed me that they are already advancing toward inhabited systems. This here, he pointed to a green point in the center, is a human colony world. It will be one of the first targets. The elders murmured among themselves. One asked, how can we be sure this is true? Ryan looked at the cube. Because it showed me what happened before. Your ancestors and mine fought together once. They built the pyramids as warnings and armories. The danger they faced then is coming back. This cube holds records, maps, and possibly the technology to fight back. Elder Varun leaned forward. Technology? Ryan reached into his bag and took out the crystal tablet. This, too. It came from the heart room. I believe it contains instructions. The elder gestured for him to place it on the table. The moment. The crystal touched the surface. A beam of light projected upward, forming images in the air. They saw scenes of the ancient war, fleets of sleek silver ships and vast black enemy vessels. They saw energy weapons tearing through space. They saw worlds burning and others standing victorious under protective shields. The final image was of builders standing side by side with humans and blue-skinned aliens, holding the same cubes Ryan now carried. The light faded, and the hall was silent. Elder Varun spoke. If this is true, then the old promise must be kept. We swore to fight beside the builders chosen when the danger returned. You are that chosen. Ryan felt the weight of the words, but kept his voice steady. Then, we need to act. This information must be sent to my people. Together we can prepare before it's too late. An elder to Varun's left raised a hand. Your people may not believe you. The galaxy has been at peace for many generations. They will think this is an old story to frighten children. Ryan replied firmly. Then I will show them the proof. This cube and this tablet are more than stories. They are history and warning. Varun nodded slowly. We will send you to the spaceport at Dawnspire. From there, you can contact your council. But know this. If the danger is already moving, you may have little time. Nira stepped forward. I will go with him. Varun studied her for a long moment before nodding. Then you will be his guide. but both of you must understand. When you take the heart's voice beyond this place, you carry the duty of both our peoples." Ryan looked at Nira and then at the elders. "I understand." The meeting ended, and the council prepared a transport for them. As Ryan and Nira left the hall, she looked up at him. "They believe you now. That is the first step." Ryan glanced toward the sky, where the twin suns were dipping lower toward the horizon. "First step or not, the clock is ticking. We have a galaxy to warn." From high on the cliffs, the pyramid was just visible in the distance, its dark shape rising from the sand. Even from here, Ryan thought he could see faint light lines running across its surface. The heart was awake, and now so was he. The sun was low in the sky when Ryan and Nira climbed aboard the transport that would take them toward Dawnspire, the nearest spaceport city. The desert stretched endlessly around them, its golden sands shimmering softly in the evening light. Though the heat was less now, a quiet tension hung in the air. Both knew the importance of their mission and the dangers ahead. Ryan stared out the window as the transport lifted gently from the ground. The pyramid's dark silhouette receded into the distance, its faint glowing lines slowly fading. It felt as if the ancient structure was watching them leave, holding secrets and warnings in its silent walls. Nira broke the silence. "Many will not want you to reach Dawnspire. Some will try to stop you." Ryan looked at her sharply. "Why? What do you mean?" She sighed softly. "The council here believes the truth will change everything. But there are those who fear change. They prefer the peace of old stories. They will try to keep the pyramid's secrets hidden." Ryan clenched his fists. "Then we have to be ready. I will not let fear stop the warning from reaching Earth." The May transport flew low over rocky hills and canyons, then over wide plains dotted with strange plants. Nira pointed to a cluster of buildings far ahead. "That is Dawnspire." As they approached the city, Ryan saw tall towers of metal and glass rising above the landscape. Ships of many sizes moved through the sky lanes, their lights blinking, like stars. The city was alive and busy, a hub of trade and travel. The transport landed on a raised platform near the central spaceport. Ryan and Nira stepped out into the cool air. For a moment, the noise of the city overwhelmed them. Voices, engines, and distant alarms mixed in a constant hum. Ryan's communicator beeped. He checked the message, a security alert from his ship. Someone had detected unauthorized signals. Near the desert, that meant they were being watched. "We need to move fast," Ryan said. Nira nodded. "I know a safe place. Follow me." They hurried through crowded streets, passing traders and travelers from many worlds. The colors and sounds were dizzying, but Nira moved with purpose, leading Ryan through narrow alleys and quiet corners. Finally, they arrived at a small building hidden between two larger towers. Nira tapped a pattern on the door, and it slid open silently. Inside was a simple room with monitors, scanners, and communication equipment. An older woman with sharp eyes and short silver hair greeted them. "Nira, you are back," she said. "And you brought the human." Ryan stepped forward. "I am Ryan. I have the Heart's Cube and the memory tablet. We need help to send this to Earth." The woman smiled faintly. "You have come to the right place. I am Kira, a member of the Watchers. We protect knowledge that others want to hide." She activated a large holographic map. Red markers appeared along several star systems, some familiar, some unknown. "The danger is closer than you think," Kira said. "We have seen signs of fleet movements and attacks near the outer colonies." Ryan's heart pounded. "We must warn the Galactic Council immediately." Kira nodded. "I will help you. Send the message, but you should know this. Spies and saboteurs are already trying to stop us." Suddenly, alarms blared in the building. The door locked itself automatically. "Someone is here," Kira said. "We must protect the data." Ryan and Nira prepared quickly. Ryan checked his equipment and readied the cube and tablet. Nira scanned the room with a small device, detecting movement outside. The security system activated defense protocols, and a soft shield formed around them. Minutes passed like hours. Then the door hissed open, and a group of armed figures entered. Ryan stepped forward. "We are only messengers. The galaxy's future depends on this warning." One of the intruders laughed. "You do not understand. Some want peace without chaos. The truth brings war." Kira raised her hands. "If you stop, this you doom us all." A tense standoff followed. Then, without warning, Nira activated a hidden control panel. The room brightened with holograms displaying images of ancient battles, ships, and the pyramid's warning. The intruders hesitated, their faces betraying doubt. Ryan spoke clearly. "This is not just a story, it is our reality. If we do not prepare, countless lives will be lost." After a moment, the intruders lowered their weapons. One stepped forward, nodding slowly. "We will help, but time is short." With the immediate threat past, Kira activated the communication array. Ryan sent the data to Earth's Galactic Council. Confirmation came quickly. The Council was awake now. They would listen. Nira smiled, relief in her eyes. "This is only the beginning." Ryan looked to the sky beyond the city. Dark clouds gathered. On the horizon, the first signs of war had begun, but humanity was ready to stand with its new allies. The message from Ryan and Nira reached Earth's Galactic Council just as the sun set over Dawnspire. The council chambers buzzed with urgency. Leaders from many worlds gathered, their faces serious and focused. The ancient warning from the pyramid had changed everything. Ryan stood before the council, holding the cube and the crystal tablet. His voice was steady as he explained what he had seen and what was coming. "This danger is real," Ryan said. "It threatens all worlds, not just humans or Nira's people. The builders left these pyramids and their knowledge to prepare us. Now, we must act together." The council members nodded. Some had doubts, but most saw the proof glowing in Ryan's hands and the holographic images of ancient battles. The message was clear. War was coming. Nira stood by Ryan's side, her presence a symbol of the new alliance between their peoples. "We are ready to share what we know and fight alongside humanity," she said. "The Builder's legacy is ours to protect." Plans began quickly. Fleets were readied, new weapons designed using the technology stored in the cube and tablets. Scientists worked day and night to understand the Builder's instructions, while diplomats negotiated alliances between once-distant species. Back on Jera, the pyramid's lights shone brighter than ever, a beacon of hope and warning. Ryan and Nira returned to its base, preparing for the next steps. Suddenly, a fleet of sleek enemy ships appeared on the edge of the system. Their dark hulls blocked the stars, moving with precision and silent threat. Ryan's heart raced. The warning had come true. The first shots were fired and the galaxy's long peace shattered. But humanity and its new allies stood firm. With the Builder's ancient knowledge and their own courage, they fought back, fighting not just for survival, but for a future where all could stand free. The war had begun. But so had the legend of the chosen human and the alien girl who unlocked the pyramid's secret. Together, they would shape the fate of the stars.